There's many things that you can make from a palette. This little shelf is one of them. Check out the next tutorial and I'll show you how to make this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the wood. So I'm going to go in with a 120 grit sanding paper and I'm going to go in the direction of the grain. I'm also going to make sure that I sand all the edges. So now I'm just going to get a cloth and remove the dust from the two pieces of timber because you don't want the dust to mix with your paint and make it look all glumpy and unfinished. So with this stencil you can see there's really like fine detail. So in this case it's less is more with paint. I'm going to use a special painter's tape to position the stencil so that it doesn't move while we're working on it. And I'm going to use a water-based satinwood paint. So I find the best thing to use for a stencil is a microfiber roller. So I'm going to roll the paint onto my roller, but less is more. So I'm going to roll it into the paint first and then I'm going to remove as much paint as I can. So once you have a little bit of paint on your roller, you're going to roll on top of your stencil. So as you can see here, you can see all the lines. So I'm going to turn the stencil around and do the same on the other side. I'm going to paint the edges here as well, just to make sure that when it's hanging that it looks nice and the colour pops. So to check that your paint is dry, you can just pop your finger down and it's paint on my fingers already. Is that? That's fine, that's fine. So I'm going to use the drill and I'm going to drill 4 holes in each corner. So when you're using the drill, just make sure that you position your drill to the drill mode, and then with a small little drill bit I attach it into my drill and I'm just going to stand up so that I can apply a bit of pressure, and I'm going to drill 4 holes in each corner. So I'm going to use some builder's twine and I'm going to cut a length. So you can cut it roughly about 1.5 meters long, but you can always cut it shorter if you need to. So just make sure it's long enough when you cut it first. So I'm just going to feed the ends through the hole that we created for the shelf, and then I'm going to feed this through a bead. So you really need the bead because the bead stops the shelf from moving off the piece of string. And then I'm going to tie it in 2 knots. And then I'm just going to cut the edge to tidy it up. So as you can see here, this is going to stop the shelf from falling off the string, and it adds a little bit of decoration as well. So I'm going to feed this through the second hole, and here I can tell how long I want my shelf, so I think that's a bit long, so I'm going to push it down. So I think that's a nice length, so I'm going to feed the bead through on this side as well, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to create another knot here. So now we've one side of our shelf. So now I'm going to do the other side in the same process. So here's your little finished shelf. So you can add more shelves if you want. Just always make sure that you're putting a bead in underneath each shelf to make sure that it's sturdy and in position. So here's just one little one. So it'll be really cute in a little kid's bedroom, maybe with a little toy on it. Just make sure you have some fun. So I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and make sure that you follow Domestika on all social medias. And if you'd like to continue learning about upcycling furniture, please check out my course on Domestika.